Zoe here. I'm back today with another Throwback Thursday. This is my new series. If you haven't seen it before, I take something old from my stash, be it a paper pad or a sticker sheet or whatever, and I try to bring it up to date and make it a bit more modern. That's the theory anyway. I will link my other video down below as well. So today I picked out this paper pad that I haven't actually used. It's a Fancy Pants Memories Captured 6x6 paper pad, and I think according to Google it was released in around 2013, so it's quite old. And in keeping with the old paper pad, I'm also taking an old photograph, and this photograph is of my youngest son and my daughter, and I think it was around nearly 3 years ago, something like that. So I haven't used this pad. It's definitely not really in keeping with my style. I'm not even sure how it got into my stash, to be honest, but it is, and so I'm going with it. So I'm picking out a paper here. I've just picked out a yellow. You can't see on the screen, but it has a sort of diamond tone on tone pattern. So I'm just using my ruler to cut this into strips approximately 2 centimetre-ish, inch-ish, I don't know, yeah, maybe an inch. And I'm going to overlay them, which is part of another thing that I was trying to show. I'm sorry for the fact that I'm off camera here actually. I'll explain that in a second. The 6x6 pad, yes. I'm trying to show how you can use up your 6x6 pads if that's all the paper you have and you don't have 12x12 paper. Anywho, so I've cut those into 6 strips and I've overlaid them on the top and bottom of my 12x12 white cardstock, and I've just taken that off to my sewing machine and stitched it roughly onto the paper. Again, if you're new to my channel you won't know, but I tend to always stitch off camera because my sewing machine hates me. So that's why that is always done off camera. So I'm just ruffling up the edges here just to add a little texture and some interest. And again, I apologise for the fact that the bottom of this layout is just slightly off camera. I've just redone my craft room again, and I'm not used to where my camera sits. I'm finding that the bottom inch of my layouts are just slightly off. I will get used to it, I promise, but for now I apologise. So I'm just going through the pad and picking out any papers that I think might work with my photograph. And again, I haven't wimped out and gone for a black and white photograph, although it does have a filter over it. I pulled this from Instagram. So because of that, I'm keeping my paper choices in keeping with the colours in the photograph, or more or less anyway. So I'm starting out with this black and white. It's not quite a polka dot, but it looks like it. And I'm keeping my layers very, very tight to the photograph because I don't want huge amounts of paper. I want quite a lot of white space, just because as I'm trying to bring the older paper pads into a more modern style, white is so big, isn't it? And yeah, I'm trying to make it look as if the paper was just released, which of course means that I'm sort of cheating by hiding quite a bit of the paper and not using loads of it. But it's my challenge and I'm cheating a little. I promise I'll do something a bit more tricky, shall we say, next week. I will try and challenge myself just a little bit more. Maybe I'll use an old sticker sheet or something next week, which is a bit more difficult. Anyway, that's next week's problem. So I'm just layering these patterns behind my photograph, and I know I'm going to use a wood veneer from, I think that's from Freckled Fawn, maybe. I don't know. I think it might be, or maybe it came in a kit. Oh, I don't know. I'm just using another of the papers from the pad there just to create a base layer for my wood veneer to sit across. I'm just lining it up. I know I want it to go in that upper right corner there, so I'm just measuring it and tearing it with my ruler. Again, just to add a nice little bit of visual texture, because I'm not adding too many layers. I'm trying to add texture where I can. I apologise for my voice being slightly off. We are the house of the damned this week. Everybody's been sick. I've apparently just started to come down with it too. So yeah, I sound like Barry White. So I'm just adding some of that black and white paper that I used as my first layer behind my photograph, and just adding a tiny strip of it on the other side of that lovely aqua blue, just to add a bit more grounding to it. It felt like the blue was floating just a little bit for me, and I didn't want that. I'm going to back the whole lot onto this lovely glassine bag. I always keep the glassine bags that embellishments and kits and things come in, because I inevitably always use them. I'm just going to back the whole thing. At this point, I think I was debating journaling onto a tag and having it slide into the glassine bag, but I do change my mind on that, and I just have strips of journaling underneath. So I'm just going to make sure it all lines up right, and then cut off that frilly edge of the glassine bag there. And I know there's quite a lot of white, well, I guess blue space under the wood veneer, but I am going to fill that in with embellishments and a bit more of the title. I'm just using a pen just to give myself a rough hand-drawn outline on my blue paper there. Again, just to add a little bit of grounding. So I don't know what it was about that blue paper. It felt very ungrounded to me for some reason. I'm not really sure why. I don't know. Anyway, I'm using the packaging technique with some Tim Holtz Distress Spray in Tattered Rose. I'm just going to splooge it and squish it behind where my photo layers are going to go. And it looks pretty dark here, but Tattered Rose is a beautiful soft pink, and it's going to dry up to a lovely, lovely soft pink. And I'm going to add a little Heidi Swap Colour Shine in Blush, I think it's called. Just a tiny bit, because it'll add a different depth of a very pale pink, and also a little bit of shimmer, which is really pretty. Again, it just adds a different texture for the eye behind the photo layers, which again I think is quite a modern thing. I mean, certainly when I was scrapbooking in 2013, I wasn't doing things like this, so that's my excuse and I'm sticking to it. So yeah, as I mentioned earlier, I have finally finished with the craft room. If you follow me on Instagram, you will know that I've been redoing it again, and yes, my scrap room tour only went up like 2 months ago, and yes, I've changed it all up again because it just wasn't working for me. So I will film another an updated, just a really quick updated tour very soon, and have that up for you. So I'm just backing my photo and layers onto some craft foam here. I just buy it in bulk, and it's super cheap and it's super handy. And I'm setting my layers deliberately off center. I like how it looks. I like that it's sort of in thirds almost. So I've got a third of my entire mat. My photo layer is the aqua, and then it takes up almost 2/3 of the width of the paper, and it's set around 2/3 up the paper, up the white cardstock. So that's my reasoning for that. And I'm just adding some little foam dots under some of the layers and under the photo, just to raise little bits of it and just scuffing some of the edges so it's not all neat and nice and tidy. Again, just to add some nice texture when you're looking at it. I'm just going to glue my wood veneer down. I use, in this fine line bottle, I have Cosmic Shimmer acrylic glue, which is one of my very, very favourite wet glues. It's so good. So going ahead and committing to that. And the chipboard pieces I'm using here are another old collection actually. They're from Simple Stories I Am, which, to be fair, is probably only like 2015, so it's not that old. But I haven't used any of the chipboard. It's just been sat around and I haven't used it, so I thought, well, I'm going to use it on this layout. And then everything's old on this. I've really added lots of old things. So I printed out my journaling just using a typewriter font, and I've cut it into strips, and I'm gonna just add it. Oh, what am I doing? I'm playing around with words where to add it. Do I want it in a strip? And I do not, because that gives me more of a grid feel, which I don't want. So do I want to add it under my wood veneer? And it does look nice, it does, but my sentences were just slightly too long, and I would have had to faff around with foam tape and stuff to back them underneath where they hang off the blue, and that would have been honestly just a little bit more effort than I wanted to give it. So I decided to stack them under my photo layer, and I actually really do like how they look stacked there. So that was quite a lucky accident. Now, had I have thought about it with any real sort of thought process when I was making this, I probably would have done that first before I adhered my photo down so that I could have stitched them. But I'd already stuck that down. I hadn't really thought that far ahead, so I just used some glue, just the same Cosmic Shimmer glue, just to stick them down. And I actually only put dots of glue on each end, so they're kind of ruffled just a little bit, which again just adds to that lovely visual texture. And I originally placed this globe on the bottom right hand side, but I opt to glue it down to the bottom left, because then when my embellishments are all sort of laid into place, it will give a diagonal feel, as well as the square feel of the rectangular feel of the photo layers. It will give the embellishments a more diagonal feel, which I think looks really nice, and it draws the eye into the photo better. So I'm just playing around. I'm using a label from Ellie's Studio label stickers, and I'm toying with a Felicity Jane one instead, but it's just too big, so I do go ahead and opt for the Ellie's Studio label sticker. Oh no, label cardstock. It's not a sticker. I'm thinking it is, but it isn't. And again, that floral's just from the Simple Stories I Am collection. I've gone ahead and stuck those down, and I'm taking the super cute gold thickers. I think these were from the Maggie Holmes Bloom, maybe? I think so. But they're so cute. I love the font. I love that they're small and cute and they fit in places. I like teeny alphas, and I also like long skinny alphas. I tend to use those ones the most. But yeah, I'm adding the gold purely because the chipboard has gold foil, and I didn't have gold anywhere else in the layout, and it felt a little disjointed. So I thought, if I have my title be Love, Love, Love This, I can add in that gold in a little sneaky way without it looking too like I've forced myself to use some gold. Does that make sense? Yeah, it makes sense. I think it makes sense to me. It's harder to explain when you're your thought process when you're not in the moment. I find it much easier to explain my thought process whilst I'm creating layouts than I do afterwards. But that's by the by. Speaking of layouts whilst I'm in the moment, I hit 950 subscribers today. Whoop whoop. Which is really, really cool. And my gosh, I never for even a half second thought that I would get that many subscribers when I started this. So thank you all very much. You are all truly, truly appreciated. But this also means that I have to live up to my promise. And I did say when I hit 1,000 subscribers, I will do a live scrap stream on YouTube, and I will. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna put the wheels in motion for that, so that I can figure out when I'm gonna do that once I hit 1,000 subscribers. I'm just adding some gold hearts that I've die cut myself from gold glitter paper, just to add more sparkly gold, because I realised the letters that I'd added were sparkly and not just gold, so I thought I'd just add in some more sparkle. But yes, with regards to the scrap stream, tentatively the plan is I'm going to do it in the evening stroke early hours for me, so probably start around 8 PM UK time and just go through to whenever I'm dead on my feet, I guess. Yes, that's the plan. I've got my lovely husband who's going to help me out with the technical side of it. So yeah, it's a bit scary. It's very scary. But I'm quite excited. It should be really, really fun. Anywho, that's another day's problem. Let's go back to my layout. I am the queen of tangents, aren't I? I'm sorry I do ever go off onto these thought processes and forget what I was supposed to be doing at the time. Anywho, I am just adding some enamel dots. I haven't been using them lately. I've gone more to the puffy sticker side of things. I love the puffy stickers, but this one felt like it could use them, so I'm again off screen. I'm so annoyed that I'm not pulling the bottom of my layout up. Anywho, yeah, in adding enamel dots, I think I used some Freckle Fawn in their green selection, and these are some I got from a shop called Bright Ray of Sunshine or something like that, and the shop just disappeared, so I don't know what happened to that, but it was really cool. They had like enamel dots, super duper duper cheap. Anywho, I'm adding some black splatters. I'm using Heidi Swap Colour Shine in black, and then I'm going to go ahead and add some gold as well. And I'm going pretty ham with the splatters today. I want a lot. I want a real sort of abstracty splatted feel to this. I don't usually add quite so much, but yeah, I really went for it today. Again, just to add to the diagonal feel when you're looking at the embellishments, and it draws the eye right back into that photograph. Yeah, I really like going a bit abstracty. It was fun. I do like when I have a plan in mind and it doesn't necessarily turn out like I thought, but I really like the end product. Inevitably, whenever I scrap, the end result is rarely anything like what I thought I had in my head. But I like that. I love that. It just evolves as I'm going, and I just go with it. And it's, yeah, I really enjoy the process of what starts as a sort of really simple idea and then it evolves into something completely different. Just going through my roller stamps. I know I want to add something onto that label sticker there. And I initially thought that I would add the date there, but I can't remember what date this photo was taken. And my son was on my phone at the time because he's been sick, and I was going with an electronic babysitter for the 20 minutes it took me to go with this. He was napping and had woken up during, so yeah, no guilt there. He was on my phone, so I couldn't find out the date, so I just went with I think XOXO. So yeah, I was bad mama today. I usually scrap while the children are asleep, but he was asleep and then he wasn't, and I was halfway through and I knew I needed to get it finished for going live. So what can you do? So yeah, he watched children's TV on my phone, sat next to me at my new huge desk. I'm surprised his hands didn't come into this actually. I'm surprised he didn't decide he wanted to grab something or whatever. But he didn't, so I'm just adding some of my precious Maggie Holmes confetti phrase stickers. I am onto my last full sheet. Well, it's not a full sheet now, but I'm onto my last almost full sheet, and I'm going to weep when I'm through with those. I really am. They've been my staple favourites for so very long. And I think underneath the XO I just add the word happy. And that's about it. So I'll be back next week with another Throwback Thursday, and I'll be back on Sunday with my new 365 smiles, so do check that out if you haven't already. Don't forget to leave me a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.